What up, everyone? Back with a new video. Got some nerdy news. A lot's happened. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and there's a whole bunch of shit going on. As always, I always split this into two sections, the media and the collectibles. This time off, I'm going to start with the media, and honestly, I think I might start doing that from now on. I think I like that better. I think I'm just going to start with the media and with collectibles. That seems to be a working system. So, first in the media, Loki. Loki ended. And as with all the shows, many people want to know my opinion, and I want to know theirs too. And my opinion is unswayingly, meh. That's what it was before the show was even starting, when it was first announced. That was my opinion during the show, and it's my opinion after the show, and it's my opinion of every Marvel show that's come out. Always seems really good, I'm always so hopeful for it, and it's always very lackluster. It's not bad, it's not a bad show, none of them are. Loki wasn't bad, I like the character, I like the actors, that was fine, but the overall feel of it is just always boring, it's always drawn out, they just really draw everything out so much, and it's just like so long, and every time you think it's gonna come to a resolution, the episode ends, and the next episode leads nowhere. So that's just kind of the way it is, and it's very disappointing, but you know, that's all. And a lot of people weren't happy about Kang, how they represented him in the show, and how they combined him. Marvel has this habit lately of combining characters together, not giving people separate stories, combining two characters into one. And they did that with Kang and He Who Remains in the comics. He Who Remains is a completely different character. They kind of blended them into one. And a lot of people weren't happy with his the kind of attitude he had. And I wasn't really either. But supposedly that's just one version of him, and he's supposedly going to be very different in other shows and movies and things like that. But again, just like I said, very lackluster. You expected... I'm surprised they even showed him. I'm still happy they did, because all the other shows always had scenes cut out. We found out after the show they cut out major characters, like they cut out Doctor Strange from WandaVision and many other things. So we were kind of expecting the same thing for Loki, that they were just going to hint at Kang very heavily, but not actually show him. So I'm glad at least they showed him. At least they had somewhat of a resolution in that sense. So that was kind of good that he was at least there, but the way he acted, like he's supposed to be the next like big boss. He's supposed to be a very big deal in the MCU. Many people are saying the next Thanos-level villain. I don't know if he'll be that big, but either way, it's just, this is our big villain. Like, he just was very goofy and very flamboyant, and it was kind of off. So I'm hoping that they change that in the future. Supposedly they will, but I hope they redevelop him, and I hope the new version that we saw at the finale of Kang, I hope he's much different than this version, as I think most people do. And, you know, this show is setting up the whole multiverse thing, which is fine. I'm glad that they're doing that. I have very mixed feelings about the multiverse, though. So, half of it I'm very excited for, because I'm so excited that they're going to make things canon again. Like the whole Sony Spider-Man thing. All those old movies are all of a sudden going to be canon to Marvel and the MCU. That's really cool. I like the idea of that. And I like the idea of the X-Men coming into it, and I like the idea of seeing like different versions of Spider-Man and things like that. That all sounds cool. But I'm also mixed about it because I feel like the multiverse is a big cop-out for a lot of things. DC is doing this. They use it as a huge cop-out. So whenever they do something they don't like, or they remake something for a random reason, they just say, oh, it's the multiverse, and they just kind of brush it off. That's their excuse. I hate it when they do that. I hate it when they use that as an excuse for things that don't make sense. Any loose ends they have, they just say, oh, that's the multiverse. That's a different version. Don't worry about it. So I hate it when they use it as a cop-out for explanation. So that's why I kind of have mixed feelings about it, because they kind of go back and forth. Whenever there's something they don't have an answer for, they just say multiverse, and that's it. But I like that they're doing like different versions of characters. So mixed reviews about that whole idea of it. But I have faith that Marvel will take it somewhere cool. So again, TV shows leading up to something good, pointing at something really cool, but not really cool themselves. And they did announce officially a season 2, but everyone already knew that. I'm pretty sure they announced that before season 1 already started. But again, not excited at all. Very lackluster. Could have done so much more. Could have had so much more characters. Blah, blah, blah. Same thing, same excuse I've been giving the whole time, but reiterating it for Loki. There it is. In other news, so they made an announcement that Daredevil and many of the Netflix characters are for sure going to be in the MCU and are going to be appearing much more than people speculated. So it was assumed that they were going to do that, and there were hints that they were going to do that, but now it's official. It pretty much was before, but now they've actually, I think Kevin Feige came out and made statements about how they are going to do that, and in different ways. So supposedly Matt Murdock is going to show up in Spider-Man as a lawyer, which totally makes sense. I don't think he'll be Daredevil. I think he'll just be Matt Murdock. But that would be cool, and I think everyone assumed that he was going to be in She-Hulk because he's a defense lawyer, and She-Hulk is also a lawyer of some kind. I'm not sure what kind. So it made sense he would show up in there. And then they were saying that Kingpin is going to show up in Hawkeye, which again makes a little bit of sense. And so there's going to be Yelena Belova that's going to be in Hawkeye. So starting to get kind of excited for Hawkeye. They keep announcing more characters that are going to show up in Hawkeye. And honestly, I think I like Kate Bishop better than the Jeremy Renner version of it. I've just always liked that character better. No big deal. So I'm more excited for the Hawkeye show, and now hearing all these announcements that characters like Daredevil, it's just cool that, we watched those shows and we were worried that they were just going to get rid of them, and it kind of sucks when you watch a show and you think it's going to lead somewhere and they just cut it off. So now it's cool that they see it leading to the MCU. Now all those shows are canon. Now I feel like I didn't waste time watching them. I would have felt like I wasted time if that story just ended, but now I feel like it's part of the bigger story, so it makes me enjoy those shows much better knowing that they're going to live on in other movies. So it was really cool to see and hear about all the things and the ways they're going to show up. Really excited for that. Next, the What If show is the next Marvel show that's coming up. And I gotta say, this is the only one I'm actually looking forward to. All the other shows, again, some of them sound cool, like Moon Knight sounds cool. He's a really badass character, but seeing the trajectory of these shows, I just feel like they're gonna drop the ball. But this one actually looks pretty legit. So, originally they said they were going to have different animation every show. Apparently they scrapped that idea. They're just not doing that, which is a bummer. And I'm also not a big fan of the animation style. I'm really hoping that when the show actually airs, the animation will have stepped up a little bit, because the trailers they were showing are from a very long time ago, and they've had so much time in between to really polish how they look. So I'm kind of hoping that the final product of animation will look much better, but again, not going to get my hopes up. A little disappointed with how the animation does look, but not a big deal, just something to note. And I'm excited for that because it's full stories per episode. So that's what I want. That's the problem I have with the TV shows. All the other ones, it's not a full story per episode. You have to watch them all to get one story, and you barely get a story. You get like a snippet of an actual story that's going to happen in the movie, so you get barely anything. But I like that supposedly, again, it's a well-rounded show per episode. Each one tells its own story that I like. But there's also been talkings that apparently the whole What If is one big story, that they are all connected in some way. So I hope it's not like the other shows where it's just one big story and little snippets here and there. I hope each one is its own story, so we're not just left hanging on cliffhangers at every episode. But I kind of have a feeling that they may go that route where it's, again, snippets and leave you with cliffhangers. But I hope it doesn't. I hope it's just well-rounded stories so you can actually enjoy each episode. Each week it comes up, you get a full movie's worth of story, and you aren't left waiting until the last episode, which is like all these other shows. Every episode just left me with questions, left me waiting, and never answered them. So I'm excited for the fact that they do small stories, and they announced a season 2. Which is great because What If could go on infinitely. It's a what if story. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to have a perfect ending because it's what if scenarios. So there were a bunch of comics that, again, they're still printing to this day, have gone on for decades because there's infinite possibilities of what ifs, just like the multiverse, infinite possibilities. So this show could live on for multiple seasons into decades in the future, and I hope it does. And maybe when they get more budget and the budget builds up, they will be able to keep their promise of doing different animation styles per episode, because that sounded really cool. I was more excited about that. All right, next in the news, Venom 2. So this is coming up pretty soon. It's coming up in September. And then Kevin Feige actually talked about this and said that there is a very good potential of Venom being in the MCU, which I really hope is the case. Venom is a very popular character. He's one of my favorite characters, and I know they're doing their Spider-Verse multiverse, which is fine. I'm excited for that too, but I'd be so much excited to know that that version of Venom is going to appear in the MCU in the near future, because he's great. He's an amazing character. I love him because he was one of Todd McFarlane's original creations, so I hold a special place for him. And he was in the Guardians of the Galaxy. He was on a version of that team, which was really cool, and he's shown up a lot of places. Agent Venom was in Thunderbolts, and there's been a bunch of teams he's been on, so if Thunderbolts is coming up, so it'd be super cool to know that either Venom or Agent Venom or something like that's going to be in there, because that'd be really exciting. So I'm excited for that. They didn't actually confirm that he's going to be, but the way Kevin Feige talked about it, he said he didn't say no. He answered the question and didn't say no, which history has shown us that almost is a yes. Not a 100% because they haven't actually finalized it. That could change, but it's pretty much a yes, because any interview you see at when there's leaked information, or potentially when someone's asked a question, if the answer is no, they'll say no. Straight up, end it, no, that's not happening, done. But if they say, oh, I can't answer, or I can't talk about it, or there is potential, that's a very good sign. That's practically a yes. And for him to say something like that, that means they've at least talked about it and it is on the table. So hopefully that works out well, and hopefully we hear news that it is happening. I doubt it'll be soon, because Spider-Man and Venom haven't even crossed over yet. So that needs to happen, whether it's 1 or 2 Venom movies down the road. So that's at least like 3 or 4 years before that crossover happens, and that'll happen first before he's ever considered in the MCU, so it won't happen for a while, minimum like 5 years, if not 10, but it could still happen with one of these recent phases. So that's really exciting that might be a potential. All right, another article I read, another from Kevin Feige, he's been talking a lot lately, that he said woof. Oh, Wolf keeps farting and it keeps wafting at me. Stop. Fucking stink, man. Chill out over there. Oh. Kevin Feige read an article that he said there's no more long-term contracts in Marvel anymore, which is kind of worrying a little bit. So the reason they gave for it is he wants people to do the movies because they're passionate about it. They want passionate people and not people that are obligated to do it, which I totally get. As far as like acting goes, for sure you would want people that are passionate and not people that are forced to do it, because you can tell the difference. There's even the best actors, when they're forced to do stuff, it's just not really there. So I totally get where they're coming from, but that's very worrisome because, you know, looking at movies like Infinity War and Endgame, the only reason that happened were because of these contracts. So yes, I get what they're going for about wanting passion, but we wouldn't have those movies if they didn't have those contracts. If the actors weren't forced to do that movie because they already signed a contract, it wouldn't have happened. Not that Infinity War wouldn't have happened, it still would have been a movie, but they wouldn't have had every single Marvel character up to that date. I don't think however many there were, 30 different movies, I don't think all those characters were doing it just because of passion at that point. I'm pretty sure Robert Downey Jr., after doing it for that long, I'm pretty sure he was obligated. So that's why those contracts are important. I get that they want that, but I wouldn't throw away that potential. So that makes me worry that the next, like whatever we're on, phase 6 or 7, when they do a big movie like that we're going to have almost all the characters, but not all of them, and that's going to be such a bummer. So that made me a little bit worried, but hopefully they have a plan of how they're going to work things like that out. Hopefully they're not just scrapping doing movies that big ever again, because that would be a bummer. All right, enough about Marvel. Next, there's been a lot of Comic-Con panels lately. Again, most of them very lackluster. I could go on for days talking about each one very briefly, but I only want to talk about things I'm excited for. And one is a new Dragon Ball movie. This I'm excited for. I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, for those of you who don't know. I have Majin Vegeta tattooed on my shin, very large, hurt like fuck, but I got it. And it's just a huge franchise with me. It's one of my top fandoms. It's probably in the top 5. And the movies are fantastic. The show's good too, don't get me wrong, but the movies are so much better, just in quality and everything. The animation looks much cleaner and crisper. The writing, the dialogue, so much about it is just much better. Just like the MCU. Like, nothing bad about the shows, but the movies are just clearly better. Like, a million times better. Same with Dragon Ball. The movies are so much nicer, and the past couple they've done have been fantastic. Resurrection F is probably my favorite Dragon Ball movie ever, and Broly was amazing too. Just a well-rounded story, well told. Everything was fantastic about it. So I'm excited to see where they go with this, because it's only been more popular since they rebooted it. Or not rebooted, but they started again. So they have tons of money at their disposal because they're doing so much. So this could be a really great movie and has potential. And supposedly we're getting brand new characters in it, which is a first. I wouldn't say a first, but we haven't seen brand new characters in a while. That might not even be true. We got beers. Anyway, brand new characters are coming, so it's something to be excited for. And I'm excited to see what the finished product is, what the story is. And I hope they don't do like they did with Resurrection F, where they made the movie and then erased it and retold it in the show. I hated that. That bugged the hell out of me. So I hope they don't do that. And I'm excited to see what this movie is. And it's coming out in 2022, so we'll probably only have to wait about a year to see it. It'll probably be next summer. Yes, totally on board with that. Other things. Star Wars Visions. So we've known about this for a very long time, but there's been more trailers and more interviews lately, and I'm legit excited for it. It looks fantastic. This one does have slightly different animation styles per episode, but it's not like... From what I saw, it only looks a little bit different. I don't know how much the finished product's going to look like, but I like that. That's what I wanted to see from the What If series. And the animation on these looks fantastic, and it just looks very exciting. And I'm not even a huge Star Wars fan. I like Star Wars. I've seen all the movies. I've seen some of the shows, but I'm not super excited when they announce stuff. I'll watch them. I like The Mandalorian, but when they announce Season 3, I'll be like, okay, I'll watch it. But this looks legit awesome. They have so many movies that they're modeling them after, and I watched a little quick interview that showed like what they were modeling each episode after, and it just looks really cool. So I hope they don't shit the bed, because we've only really seen the animation, and hopefully the writing's not shit, because I've seen that happen before, where it looks really cool, but it's just really stupid. So hopefully they put some money into the writing too and tell some cool stories, because that looks very awesome, and I'm pretty excited for that. In other media, talking about some video games. A lot of people want to hear more about video games on my nerdy news, and not that I don't want to talk about it, I'm more than happy to. I'm just not super knowledgeable on them at this current state. It kind of goes in waves. When there's a game I'm excited for, I'll get really into it, but there's not too many things that are coming up that have excited me, so I've just been out of the loop. But speaking of which, there could be one potentially coming soon. So NetherRealm Studios announced that they are done with Mortal Kombat 11. They are officially done, no more DLC, nothing like that. And if you've been in the news, you've seen videos on the pattern of NetherRealms, how much time they put into a game, how much DLC, and then how long after that they wait to announce their next game. If they're going off the pattern they've done for quite a while now, we should be getting a new game announced very soon. For all I know, it could have been announced this week, and I just haven't heard about it yet. So I'm a little behind on the news. Excuse me if they have already announced it, but the potential is really cool. Hopefully I don't sound like a jackass when the game's already been announced, but there's a lot of things it could be. It could be people are speculating another DC game. People are speculating it could be a DC Mortal Kombat crossover, because they haven't done one of those in over 10 years. And there's been some very small rumors, very small potential of them doing a Marvel game. So there have been talks and reports that NetherRealms had a meeting with Marvel, and they were in talks. We don't know if anything happened. It could have just been a meeting to talk about it, but there is some potential of them doing a Marvel game. If so, I'd be really excited about that, because the NetherRealm Studios games look legit. They always have looked good. They look really cool. I've just never got around to playing them. I'm a Mortal Kombat fan, but I didn't play them that much. Same with DC. It looks really cool, but I just never got into them. So I might, if there was a Marvel game, or if someone finally announced they're doing Marvel vs. Capcom 4, I'd be right back in it and be totally into it. So I'm hoping their next game is something big and exciting. So not much to report on there, just some potential of things that could be exciting. All right, that's it for the media. So now we can talk about some of the collectibles. Not a ton to talk about here. So Comic-Con is right now, and I say Comic-Con because it kind of is. So it's a virtual experience. It's not even Comic-Con. Essentially, Comic-Con didn't happen this year or last year. Everything was virtual, and instead of them combining together and doing Comic-Con, all the companies or the big name ones just do their own thing on their own website. Funko does it, Sideshow does it, pretty much all the big name companies are just doing their own things, their own giveaways, their own games. So there's a lot going on, but again, nothing that's super exciting. The Funko's made tons of announcements of con exclusives, and that's going to start soon, but nothing that stood out in particular. But one is the Funko Fun Days. I'm not sure if they did this last year, by the way. I think it might have been canceled or I may have just missed it. But I did go to one of the first ones they ever had, I think back in like 2013. I made a video about it. It was amazing. It was absolutely fantastic. That was the only chance I ever got to go. I got sent a ticket invite by Funko. I'm not sure how. It was super random. And I kind of thought it might have been a scam, but took a risk, bought a ticket. And it was super amazing. It was a really cool event. And they're not doing a live event, but they're doing it where people can at least purchase the things that they give away. And the things they gave away at Funko Fun Days are fantastic. They give away some really cool stuff and some really valuable stuff. One of the most valuable pops that I have, it's over here somewhere, that I've ever gotten was from Funko Fun Days. And it's not only one of the most valuable I have, it's on the top 10 list of the most valuable pops in existence, and that is the Freddy Funko of Jack Skellington. And they only made like 196, I think, and it's worth like almost $4,000. And that's one of the ones I got for free. I didn't pay for anything. I just bought the ticket, and they said, "Here you go, $4,000." Like, so pretty amazing stuff. And the virtual experience is going to be something similar to that. You're getting similar things. Now, let it be known that I did get an invite to this. They did a random raffle, and then they sent out emails if you made the raffle and then got the chance to buy a ticket in the sense, but you're not really buying the ticket, you're just buying that box. Anyway, I'm not sure how many people they let do that. When they did the live experience, they only sold like 100 tickets. It was a very small event, and I'm sure it got bigger over the years, but very limited to how many people they could fit in a room. Now that they're doing the virtual thing, I have a feeling that they're selling way more, or not selling, giving away way more raffle tickets for people to get in and buy stuff. If I had to guess, it's probably in the thousands that they're allowing people to purchase this box. So that may bring down the value of the things I'm getting, but even still, it's still things that are going to be very, very rare and hard to come by. So they had 4 different teams you could have picked from, and I got the one I wanted. It was the Fanatic Fury, and it looked really cool. I don't know if it's going to be the most valuable or anything like that. I didn't care about that. I just picked the one I liked the best. And then we have 3 figures that haven't been announced that are going to come in a separate shipment. And one of them is like a mystery new character, so it's going to be a big box of stuff. It was $100 for the box, and that's how much the ticket was back in the day. So it's about the same thing. But you're getting that mascot, you're getting the dual package of the creators of Funko, and then you get like a handkerchief, I think, and then a pin, and then later on you get the box of 3 mystery ones, which are usually the Freddy Funkos that are masked of characters that are popular from that year, just like the Conan ones they do. So I'm very excited that I made that raffle. However many people did, I'm sure a lot of people got selected, so I'm happy I did. And when I get that box, I'll definitely show it off. But that's something that was worth mentioning because those ones from the Fun Days are always very, very valuable. So look forward to that. Other than that, they made a lot of announcements, nothing super special. On the 28th, probably when this video is being posted, that will be the wave of people that may have been selected. I don't know if I have, I doubt it, that get a chance to buy the Comic-Con exclusives. And like last year, it was a big pain in the ass to do it, but it's a little more organized this year because they've had more time. So if I get selected, yeah, I'll go in there, I'll pick out a couple things, but nothing from what I saw of the announcements was super mind-blowing, like, oh, that's so cool, I need to have it. There were just ones that are like, okay, that looks pretty cool. If I get selected, yeah, I'll pick one up. No big deal. But so this year's a little bit lackluster on the announcements. A lot of duplicates, a lot of just varying paint jobs. Every Comic-Con, they have a different Pokemon figure of the original 3 Pokemon. They did the flocked ones. Now they're doing the diamond ones, and they're doing silver ones. It's like, stop redoing the same thing. Put some new characters in there. So most of it was like that, just repeat stuff. So not super excited about that. But that's the gist of it. Alright, some other things that look cool. Something that Funko did announce, not to do with Comic-Con, they announced some of the Loki pop figures and different things like that. most of them don't care about, but I think everyone's new favorite character is Alligator Loki. He was my favorite part of the show. Like, he's the coolest character in my opinion. And they announced a Hot Topic exclusive of Alligator Loki, so I'll definitely get that one. The other ones I don't care about, but I think he's going to be a very popular character, and considering how popular he is, I think he's going to show up somewhere else. That's my speculation, that he's going to show up again in the near future. And then some more announcements. They're doing the new Ninja Turtles Pops they did. They're doing a new wave of those from the second movie. So I really liked those. I recently went back, and you can see them right here. The original, no, right here. Original 4 Ninja Turtle Funkos, which were actually not that hard to get. They weren't too expensive. I was kind of surprised. And they did a new wave of the movie ones, which are right here. And now they're doing the second movie. So I'm excited about that. I love Ninja Turtle stuff. And there hasn't been a ton of Ninja Turtle stuff from Funko lately. So I'm glad they're going back and doing some of the older movies. I'm pretty excited about that. I kind of want them to do a new Mystery Minis set. They haven't done one since their original one, which was like, I think it was like 2013 or something like that. It was a long time ago, and they were kind of weird looking. So I think maybe they should revisit that, maybe do some new Ninja Turtles ones. I think that'd be kind of cool. So I'm glad they got that property for the second movie. Maybe we'll see something from that. Next, something from Beast Kingdom. So we got the Iron Man Mark 50 battle damaged helmet from Endgame, and this thing looks pretty fantastic. It's very expensive though, $399, which isn't completely unrealistic, but it seems like a lot for what it is, and it's not that big either. It's pretty much life size, so it's kind of like the size of the Iron Man helmet. It's pretty much cut in half. So it seems a little bit expensive considering what size it is, but it looks really cool. It's that scene of Tony Stark at the very beginning of Endgame where he's recording the message on like the melted helmet, and I really like that. I just like the way that helmet looked. And now seeing this, it's just really cool. So I do really want that, but I'm not totally sure it's worth $400. But, you know, if I get rich in the near future, I definitely will pick that up. But it's on my list of things I like, because Beast Kingdom's pretty legit. They don't put out a ton of stuff, but they put out a lot of Iron Man stuff. And I have a few things from them, and they do a really good job. I like the art style they have, and it's good quality. Next. One from Infinity Studios and Penguin Studios. We've seen a couple of their statues. We've seen a couple of Joker stuff. We've seen the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, and then we saw Harley Quinn. Now we have the Heath Ledger Joker. And man, these are just so impressive. They're crazy good. They're life-size. Again, they're really cool, but I don't know if I'd want a completely realistic life-size bust of someone in my house. It's a little creepy, but this is just really awesome, man. They got it spot on. Just not just Heath Ledger's face, but the way he kind of like barely put the makeup on, and oh, it's just fantastic. It's so impressive the things they're doing here. But again, very expensive. And the price is kind of funny. The price is $4,005. The other ones were like $3,999, which makes sense. This one's $4,005, which is such an oddly specific number. Did the accounting department screw up and they had it set at $39.99? They're like, oh my gosh, if we set it at that price, we're gonna lose $6 a sale. We gotta put it up by $6. $4,005. It's just such a weird, oddly specific number. Anyway, $4,000. Fuck, that's a lot of money. I would not pay that for this. I think that's far too much. Even if I had the money, I don't think I would. But it's hard not to be impressed by that. It's just fantastic looking, and I really want to buy one just to see how close it really is, because you know how it is. Whenever they show announcements of action figure statues, they look immaculate, and then the finished product sometimes looks like it, but sometimes you're like, oh my gosh, that's what the mass-produced version looks like. It looks like crap. So I'm so curious if any of these are actually as fantastic as they look, and would they hold that, because most of them have real hair, and if you have it in your home, things get dusty, and after a while it'd be hard to get all the dust from out of the hair. So I don't know if these would age very well. I feel like they'd have a lot of upkeep and they'd be very hard to take care of. So I'm so curious about that. Probably will never know because I'm not going to spend that much, but a curiosity. If anyone ends up buying one of these, let me know in the comments. And a few announcements from a company called Mighty Jacks from Sideshow. They're not a Sideshow company, they just Sideshow announces them. They've done some collectible minifigures too over the years, and this is a really cool company, and these are actually not comic book related at all. They have a lot of ones they've been announcing lately of just very artistic stuff. They're just these creative, like kind of punny Some of them kind of 2D animation style. But if you get a chance and you're a fan of art and statues, not just comic book stuff, just art in general, go check them out. Go into Sideshow, type in Mighty Jackson, just look at some of the statues they have there. I'll be showing a few examples, but they're just really cool, and they're very reasonably priced. They're not cheap by any means. They're art statue money, but they're not crazy high prices that are unexpected. So if you're a fan of art and any of the pictures I'm showing, go check them out. And the last one, the only other thing that I thought was worth mentioning, that Super 7 announced a new figure, and they've announced a couple coming up from Mickey. So Entertainment Earth, I get notifications from new stuff from them, and they have all the companies there. And they have this Mickey, the brave little tailor, that is from Super 7. And again, it looks great. They do a really good job. But the price on this, $295. Fuck me. That is crazy. That is such a high price. And this is the same thing I keep running into with Super 7. They keep getting better and better as far as quality. Every time I see an announcement from them, it's even better than the last, and they're really great. They're really fantastic. But their prices are astronomical. It is crazy. Starting all the videos I've had that they show up in boxes, they show up in Geek Fuel a lot, these very basic figures for $20, and then I remember they had a Snoopy figure that I wanted, just very basic looking, very easy to make, I'm sure it's very cheap to make, it was like $200, and then this one's $300. It looks cool, they did a good job, but it's nothing fantastic. It's very basic. I have a feeling that it's very cheap to make this. It doesn't look like it costs a lot, and it's just crazy expensive. I don't know how they're staying in business. I guess they're just getting really popular because they've been putting out stuff every single month. And I know these figures sell out online. So I want to complain about the price, but people keep paying for it, so it's going to keep going up. So the Super 7 stuff, I want to collect it. I want some of these Disney figures because they look great. They look really high in quality, just not that high in quality. That's just crazy to pay that much. But, you know, I'm tempted to get one and see if the quality is actually as good as it looks in the picture. And if they make a character that I'm really obsessed with, I might do that. But man, I don't know how they're getting away with these prices. I wish they would bring the price down by like half, and I would totally buy everything they have because they make some really quality stuff. So Super 7, if you're watching, please consider bringing the prices down a little bit or having a discount day. Send out some coupons or something like that. We want your stuff, we just can't afford it. So that's all we had to talk about, which was a lot, I know. So things to think about, things coming up. Next week is going to be Suicide Squad. And I'm excited for that movie, not because I think it's going to be good, but I'm excited to talk about it. Because whether it's awesome or it's bad, I have a lot of things to say about it. I just hope it's not mundane. But I think it'll either be really cool, and I'll have cool things to say, or I think it's going to be really terrible, like the first one, and I have a lot of shit to talk on it. Either way, I'll have a lot to talk about, so I'm excited for that in that sense of it. After that, not a lot coming up. We don't have Shang-Chi until September, and then there's going to be like one big movie a month. So we'll have like one movie review a month, maybe one unboxing a month, and one nerdy news, and then one special video. And that'll kind of be the system from here on out. Other than that, as always, feel free to join the giveaway at any time. Look up the giveaway rules. And I want to know your thoughts in the comments. This is about a community. Let's hear what you have to say. Let's hear what you think of the things shown, things you want to see. Talk about it in the comments. I want to hear from you. I like to hear from you. And then you can tell your thoughts on things that I say too. Other than that, thank you for watching and supporting. See you next week for the Suicide Squad video, which we'll post later in the week. But thank you for watching and supporting. Love you all. Peace.